Take a look at your body. Many people have at least one form of body art present, pertaining to either tattoos, piercings, or an unnatural hair color. Today, I'm going to be discussing the role of those said body art forms in a professional setting, such as an office or any other professional workplace. So I have multiple piercings, and I occasionally dye my hair crazy colors. My place of work actually does not allow me to show up to work and interact with customers or my other coworkers with those forms of body art. With that being said, I'm going to move into a definition of professionalism as said by a university. So, professionalism is described as the conduct, behavior, and attitude of someone in a work or business environment. This statement was provided to us by the Career and Professional Development Center at Virginia Tech. And I want everybody to notice that nothing about that statement pertained to the physical appearance of a student or employee. With that being said, that means that you can still be a professional in a work environment and still have that body art on you. So I would like to show you my dad. So he works at the Amon Carter Museum of American Art, and as you can see, he has full tattoo sleeves. And his work environment still considers this professional. So he works in the education department, which means that every day he shows up to work and he has to interact with his coworkers, patrons, other business professionals, as well as local schools. So these students always see my dad's tattoos and they always think they're really interesting. And they look at them, they might ask a few questions, and then they move on. So this is still absolutely considered professional due to the fact that it might distract them at first, but then you can address it, move on. And as well as an office or workspace, Kevin Gannon is a professor at Grandview University, and he also has full sleeves of tattoos. And he was interviewed by Degrees magazine, and he quoted that he was a punk, but still cared about his education. So that goes to say that he can still be a professor. He has a doctorate degree in history, and his experience has been great because he uses his tattoos to interact with his students as well as kind of form a little bond with them. The students think that the tattoos are interesting, and as I mentioned before, he can address it, create some common ground, and then move on with his teachings. So it might be considered a distraction at first, but then after you address it, you can move on and still be considered a professional in your work field. So my museum, the Kimball Art Museum that I work at, does actually not require any of these forms of body art. So I have one piercing right here, it's my nose ring. Then I also have 3 ear piercings on this ear and 3 ear piercings on this ear. So I'm permitted to have my ear piercings at work, but not my nose ring. And I also have my hair dyed pink sometimes. I have a picture of that right here as well. So this was during the summer before I started work at the museum again. And then I actually had to dye it back in order to start back at work. So my museum is a little bit more conservative than my dad's museum that he works at. It's different. So at my dad's, body art is considered professional. At mine, it is not. And so Carmen Taylor, who is an employee at Old Italian Kitchen, provided her beliefs on the topic. So in her 2014 article, Tattoos in the Workplace, where she was interviewed, these rules, and I quote, may reflect out of sync traditional attitudes held by older executives, rather than staying up to date with eased restrictions. And so Taylor's beliefs that these rules are out of date and they're not able to comply with new employees in the present day, this is just a further statement to prove that these restrictions probably should be lifted. This just goes to say that many young employees also agree with Taylor, and the body art forms should be considered professional in any work environment. So with that being said, any social setting as well as professional setting should require body art forms, tattoos, piercings, and hair color. It can be seen as a distraction at first, but this is a new era and it is definitely possible to still be professional and include those forms of body art on yourself. And so Regina Robo, in her 2014 article titled Body Art in the Workplace, also explains that some employers have told their employees to, quote unquote, lose the jewelry or lose the job. And so this also is a negative approach to the topic. This makes the employees feel unwelcomed, as well as maybe they don't want to come back to work or they don't want to take a position due to those restrictions. And so if you agree that those restrictions should be lifted and you want to take further action, you can definitely, in a polite manner, ask your employer what their policy on body art is, and if the restrictions are a little bit heavier, it's definitely a professional way to ask if those restrictions might be lifted in the future. So body art is still a professional exhibition of one's uniqueness and individuality, and it should definitely be permitted in the professional workplace.